Right, it is the start of season 4 with Athletic Club York, my creative club, where we're only signing players from Yorkshire or have come through the youth system. So, very difficult to recruit players. We've managed to do that. We've strengthened the squad. We've got 2 players in every single position. And we're ready to go full on Marcelo Bielsa 4-1-4-1 for this season's tactic. We've signed 8 players in, 8 players out. We've got Thiago Green on a new contract, which is fantastic. We're 17 games into the season as well. A lot has gone on over the past week. So let's dive into Yorkshire or nothing.
We're proud to be Yorkshire. From North Sea to Cornwall, we call it all home. We're proud to be Yorkshire. From States to Totley, straight to Ripon and Otley. We're proud to be Yorkshire. From North Sea to Cornwall, we call it.
Alright boys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to Athletic Club York. First thing, big shout out to FM Llama. He has become a Patreon on the channel. Thank you very much for your support, buddy. Links down to the Patreon down below because we've got a couple of regens. If you join certain tiers on the Patreon, the top 2 tiers, the Prime Baggio tier and the Legend Baggio tier, you get to become a regen in the game. And some of these regens are pretty useful. In particular, Thiago Green. Here he is. He's up to now 4-star. He's still only 18 years old. I've signed him to a deal. He's on he's got 3 years left. So we've got this season and 2 more seasons to try and work with him and progress through the leagues, get out of the conference, get out of the Vanarama. The best thing about the deal is, though, we've got rid of his release clause. He's got a relegation release clause in at 250k. I thought that was okay because if we get out of the conference, the Vanarama this year or next year, I think we can survive League 2. So that wasn't much of a concern, but the best thing is I managed to get off the 160,000 release clause. I think he would have gone by now if I hadn't been able to sign him to it. And as you can see, he's made a nice little start, 12 goals in 14 games. Unfortunately, you're not going to see him today because he's on international duty with Sierra Leone. All right, so that is Thiago Green. He's here to stay. Let's go through the transfers. Okay, so Jack Stott, who was with us last season, came in, I thought, like halfway through the season. Ended up having a nice little season. 23 appearances, 4 goals, 6 assists from central midfield. He's come back for the season again. 6 goals in 15, which is really good. Only 1 assist, but has done really well from us breaking from midfield. We got in Harvey Gilmore, now has had a pretty terrible time, and he was quite expensive, but I got him in based on his performance in the Vanarama North with Halifax and also his performances for FC Halifax in the Vanarama National a couple of seasons ago. So maybe he's been a little bit underused so far. He's been a little bit of a bit part player. He's been injured a little bit, but he can play on the left-hand side. It was a good backup, I thought, for Rakonza. He was born in Sheffield as well, so obviously fits the transfer philosophy. And then another loanee in. We were keen to really strengthen. So my idea, because we're playing the Bielsa 4-1-4-1, the idea was I really wanted to strengthen our depth in squad and made it easy to rotate players in and rotate out. We're giving them quite a hard training regime as well. I'll show you the training setup in a minute, and hopefully if you're interested, there'll be a video of it coming very soon on my training schedule. But Isaac Fletcher was just one of those players that could do centre midfield, as in box-to-box Mazzara, so can do both roles, 6'2" physical. On loan from Middlesbrough as well, 22 years old. Probably a player that we'll look at maybe signing permanently in the summer. And then on the outs, right at the back end of the season, San Habergum went. We got him out. He's now, to be fair, he could have still done a job for us probably as a backup, but he was 32, wanting to leave, so we've let him go. And Gabby McGill, one of the players in the save that I used to coach as a kid, has gone to air. I'm going to keep my eyes on him because we may, when we're in the Premier League and he's 35, we may just give him another contract. So we'll definitely keep our eyes on Gabby McGill. And then players released. We released Ruben Nobus Lazarus, one of those players who actually always looked quite good in the game, and he got some decent numbers, especially in sort of like the first 2 seasons. Racked up 100 appearances for us, Ruben Noble Lazarus, but he was getting to the age where he was 31. We had players like Gilmore coming in. We've signed another key player as well, so it made sense just to let him go, and unfortunately he's not found a club. Henry Kendrick has gone as well. He was our backup goalkeeper we were looking at moving on our goalkeepers anyway. We've got some very decent young goalkeepers coming through the ranks, so it made sense to let him go. Brad Nicholson was another one I had a little bit of high hopes for. I think I was put off and I saw a green in 19 and it was for long throws. I thought he might be able to do a job for us. It turned out he couldn't. He played a couple of games and had an average rating of 6.1. So he was gone. End of contract. Good job I only signed him for a year. And Aaron Pilkington, a player who kind of played in and out for us. He was more of an under-23s player, didn't actually feature at all for us in the league. I think he played a couple of league games. But yeah, his contract was expired and we've got another, once again, I've brought for a youngster from the academy to get into the first team, so it made sense to let Aaron go. Okay, and then we've started to do a little bit of loans. We've got a lot of players that wanted to sign new deals and wanted to go, so the idea is that I've sent them out on loan with the thing that they're going to play games. So any ones that are classed as regular starter or important, rejected loans. So Oakley Cannoneer, who had a really good season towards the end, scored a couple, I didn't, but he had a couple of goals. He looked pretty useful. He may still be useful at the age of 20 years old. He's got a little bit of pace. He's finishing, his dribbling. He's probably not much more than a League Two player, but we just thought we'd allow him to go out on loan, and he's in the Vanarama National League this year, and he scored 7 goals in 6 starts, so he's doing pretty well. Joel Staker, one of my patrons on the channel, I've let him go just because of how we've strengthened this summer, and with him only being 17, he's capped already at Dutch under-19s, but I've just let him go out on loan just to get a little bit of experience, and then we'll make a decision. We're going to make a little decision on a lot of these youngsters next season on what we're going to do. He's going to definitely have the physicals to be good. We just need to really work on his technicals next year, but I made it a decision to send him out on loan. He's in the Vanarama South, so he's dropped down a league, but getting game time. He's not done anything amazing yet, but he's playing games, and that's important. George Sykes Kenworthy, now looking at it, he looks like a pretty decent keeper for this standard, but the big numbers, he's got 15 for eccentricity, which, you know, as a goalkeeper is not great. 16 is good for kicking, I suppose, so that's not bad, but not absolutely amazing. And 15 rushing out tendency, so nothing absolutely amazing. He did do a number of bloopers for us last year, so once it's in the head that he's liable to a mistake, it was made sense to get him out. And he's actually jumped up to Peterborough, who are in League One. He'll only be their backup keeper. Yeah, he's the Papa John's man. But yeah, we got him out. I was happy to go with one of my youngsters, and then we managed to get another player in to really strengthen our goalkeeping unit. Paul Elliott is one of my patrons on the channel. He has gone out on loan as well. Just once again, he's in between, nowhere near the sort of the first team standard yet, but has a few nice little attributes in some of the technical, so we've let him go out on loan as well. And Lee Bridges, central midfielder, only 17 years old. He's unhappy. He's lost his trust in his manager, which is me. That's a shame. Well, I think it might be me. Is it me? Or will it be the loan manager? Yeah, the few of them have whinged about contracts. A couple are actually leaving on freeze at the end of the season. But I'm hoping him just having a year out away from the club, he may then come back a little bit better, a little bit stronger. I might want to sign a permanent deal. And then on the ins, we brought back Josh Osterfield, a player that we had on loan last year from Huddersfield. 42 games he played for us last year. He's already played 14. Nice average rating for a central midfielder. Doesn't do a lot. He just gets about the pitch. Someone who can play in here and in there as the box-to-box. Jack Robinson is our new left-back. I believe he's Middlesbrough. Yeah, he's come from Middlesbrough in the Championship. Never played, but he did have 38 games in Season 1 with Yeovil. Had a pretty decent start for us as well. Nicely well-rounded. 6 foot, gets forward whenever possible. We made one of those players that we'll look to keep for a number of seasons at only 23. Probably the biggest in terms of names is Josh Windast. A few people in the comments have mentioned him before. I kind of got in number one because he's so versatile. Look at the amount of positions he can actually play. He's at the back end of his career. We signed him to a long deal. That's my only worry. We signed him to a long deal. So I may look at moving him on. It was a case of me getting him in or losing out to sort of like other League Two clubs. So I made a punt. We've got loads of money in terms of wages anyway. And because of us being in a position where we're struggling to bring players in, it made sense just to make sure we get him in. He can be no more than a sort of like a backup for us maybe going forward. As I made an average start, 3 goals, 4 assists. But yeah, it's a name. Josh Windast through the door from Sheffield Wednesday. The next one is Josh Falkenham. Now, I've watched Harrogate play a little bit, in particular the season they got out of the conference, and I love to watch him play. He just sits in front of the middle of the back four. Not the biggest, 5'6", but very good. He's Harrogate's club captain at the moment. Look at them mentals, absolutely tremendous. Has not kicked off well, But we've changed the defensive role. Now our man who sits in the front of the back four is just a half-back, just to give us a little bit more solidity. We were playing Bristol Rovers, the league favourites, the first game of the season, and he got sent off within the first 20 minutes. So he's had to work his way back into the team. 6.99 average, though, isn't bad for a half-back, I don't think. And then we've brought in Louis Jones, the new number one goalkeeper, only 26 years old, which is good for a goalkeeper. Born in Doncaster, was at Doncaster, played he played 41 games for Doncaster last year. So what a signing that is for us, I think, in terms of experience. 26 years old, 3-star ability, 4 potential. So he's likely to be a number one for some time. However, we've got a bit of a goalkeeper crisis at the club. It's a good crisis to have. We've got Paul Cullen-Barney, our Gibraltar international, 18 years old, 6 foot, starting to improve. He's now my number 2 goalkeeper. It's important that at some point I give him game time. And as you can see, we've got Olawale Okoro, who's come through the youth system. English, where's he born? He's born in York. Get in. Born in York, 18 years old. Coming on pretty nicely, 6'2". And then we've also got George McKay, one of my patrons on the channel. He's 5-star potential. And once again, 17 years old. Scottish like George, so that's why I give him this one. And another one. I think I'm going to have to send one of the youngsters out on loan next season. Get these 2 out on loan. And then what I'll probably do is bring one of them in as my backup keeper next year. And then perhaps send Paul out on loan so then he can get some game time. So I've really got to rotate it. But it's important that we look after these players that have potential of 5-star, in particular giving goalkeepers game time. So the squad is big. We've included a couple of youngsters. So Mark Fairhurst, patron on the channel, has become a regen. He is looking very good in terms of mental and physicals. We may alter the structure of what we do with our right back because our left back likes to get forward and our right back is more of a solid base. Ryan Fallowfield is our first choice right back. He had a really good season for us last year. Looked really decent down that right hand side, and he's had a bit of a stinker this year. So I'm thinking we may go with youth. We play Mark as a really solid just full-back support. And on the other side, we allow the left-back to get forward. That's my thought, so we may change it. But once again, we've got players regen. Chris Howell, patron on the channel, coming through, which is nice. Then we've got another one in Mark Hampson. This guy's up for grabs if you're interested in becoming his name and his face. 6 foot left-back. He's only 16 years old. Only rated 3-star potential, but I think there's a little bit in here for him. Obviously, his dribbling's not great, his finishing's not great, but marking, tackling are really good. His physicals are okay, his mentals look okay. So he's just one who I think is going to be a nice, solid left-back, and he's only 16 years old. He's got 4 years of development in here. So fingers crossed we can really work with him in the individual training and get the best out of him. And there we go, boys. So the tactic, if you missed it in the last episode, we're right there. 4-1-4-1. The only thing we've changed is we've got the defensive midfielder as a half-back. So I'll tell you what, we're going to have a go at this right now. We're going to play the left-back as a complete wing-back support. We're then going to play just Mark as a full-back on support and play it that way and skew it the other way, I think. And then the league has been pretty good. We're third. We are 6 points off Bristol Rovers. It's a big club to come down into the conference. We're playing Southend today, but we've only lost 2 games, and we've sorted our defence out. Very unlike Leeds United. We've scored 29, which is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th highest, so maybe we could do with a couple more goals. Against, though, we've conceded the 4th least on 14. There's only Aldershot that have conceded less than us on 11, so we're doing pretty well in that way. We've maybe just not been as, creative. I'm going to have to go through the data hub, I think, and have a real look to see if we're creating really good chances, or is the fact that we're missing a few up top. But I'm happy we're a little bit more solid. It's just going to be a really hard division to get out of. The board want us to finish mid-table. The expectation from the media was 16th, so we're doing pretty well that wise. If we just quickly look at the stats, team detailed, I want us to have a little bit more on the ball. We've only got 53% possession. I was hoping that would be up towards 60%. So something to try and improve on there. And this one just shows how good we are defensively. We've only faced 63 shots. So we've got by the looks of it, for now, we've got a really solid defence midfield who are stopping the other team from creating big chances by the looks of it, which is really good. That one's just shots on target. Shots against in all, 155, so the second best there. So we've really tightened up defensively, which I'm really happy with. But this is the one. This is the real one down here. 229 shots. So compared to Bristol Rovers, who are top, we're 100 shots behind them. So it's creativity that we really need to focus on, I think. I don't know how I'm going to do it yet. I don't know how we're going to get us to create more. It'd be interesting to let me know your thoughts, what we could do with the tactic to make us a little bit more creative. I'm really keen not to take that half back out in front of the back four because obviously that's setting us up nicely. Maybe we just can't have the best of both worlds in terms of being super attacking and at the same time shutting teams out at the other end. And then the last little bit is just the wages. You can see we've got now the fourth highest wage bill in the division, 1.34 million a season. If we move up one, as you can see, York City Soccer Club, our big rivals, they have a salary of 15.55 million. That is what, 7 times, pretty much nearly 6-7 times more than Wrexham, who are in second. And York themselves still got Landon Donovan in charge, 35 points top of the league, up there with Bradford and Bolton. Looks like they could be going up 2 consecutive promotions. All right, let's get into today's game. We have got Hopcutt out injured. We've got Thiago Green. So what we are going to do is, obviously, Phillips, who's scored a lot of goals for us in his first 2 seasons. 16 and 26, 23 in all comps, 50 in all. So he's had over 50 goals for the club. Just struggled a little bit this season. So we need to see him perform today while we haven't got Thiago Green. And we're going to bring Josh Windass in on the right-hand side. We maybe just need a little bit more creativity in the middle of midfield, you know. Stott's doing very well, but how's Biggins doing? Biggins is okay. Difficult. Do we bring a Windass in? Is he going to have a little bit more creativity? I know Rakonza wants to go out there. Not sure what quite to do. We obviously need to be a little bit more creative. But I think for today, we'll just have to leave it. I think we're going to leave it for today. Leave it as this has pretty much been my tried and tested. We have got Osterfield. I'm just giving Falkenham a little bit of game time just to see what he develops like in this role. Osterfield, once again, is a midfielder that can do a little bit of everything. Not great attacking wise. I don't know. Do we be brave here? Do we be brave? Tell you what, we're going to be brave. We're going to change Stott and Biggins. We're going to bring Gilmore in and put him on the left because he was decent going forward for us. For Halifax. Rakonza can do that side, no problem. Do we go double Mazzala? Is that a little bit too much, double Mazzala? Sod it. Let's go for it. Let's go double Mazzala for Stott. Biggins and Mazzala, but we're going to actually bring in Windass. So we've got our best sort of like attacking players there. Let's see how it goes. And then obviously we've got Jones, the number 1 goalkeeper. Semple and Downing are our 2 main centre-halves. Robinson's going to have a real good goal pushing on. And obviously then Phillips up front. Right, here we go. So we're up in third. It needs to be a bog standard win today. I'm interested to see what our possession stats like. Interesting to see how this double Mazzala works. Maybe it could be just it could be even be just are we getting a penalty? I think we are. And you know what? I'm going to change something within the first minute. I'm going to change this role here onto just a central midfielder on attack. Change this on support. Like that. So it's a little bit of a... We don't need him necessarily being too high. And we'll just go with that and see what happens. I could have completely messed it up, but we'll see. Right, Kieran Phillips from the penalty spot to give us a dream start within the first 12 minutes. Puts it in. 1-0. Get in. Okay. Fairhurst. Oh, it's a good cross from our youngster. And Gilmore was at the back stick. I think Gilmore's going to be one of these players that might get good numbers in terms of assists and goals and not quite have that average rating. So I think we really need to stick with him. Charlie Savage is playing for Southend. Robbie Savage's son. Right, into the second half. Good job we had a lot to talk about in terms of the new season because the game hasn't been great. But we dominate in possession. Look, 60% possession. Maybe not enough on goal still. But at least we've got a shape, we've got a system, and it obviously is working at the moment. Right, Savage, Ferguson, Doofus. He'll no doubt score past us. Robinson. Right, a chance for him to get forward from left back. It doesn't. He plays safe. Downing. Robinson. Falkenham just dropping off nicely. Nice. Good football. Phillips dropping off as well. Oh, this is great. I was going to say Dean Windass. Josh Windass. And got quite the pace. Phillips. Windass. Falkenham. I think that's what we maybe need, you know, a little bit more pace. I don't think we've got very quick players, which I know is hard to find in these lower levels. Stott, he loves that late run, and it is 2-0. We'll have a little look at pace at the end to see which players have got the little bit of pace. But I think maybe when we look at signing players, even Thiago Green up front isn't very quick. And that's maybe contributing a little bit. If you imagine Leeds with the players that they've got in terms of Rodrigo, Harrison, Junior Firpo at left back, Dan James, all players who can move pretty quickly and obviously suit Bielsa's system well. So maybe that's something we maybe need to look at, introducing a little bit more pace in wide areas when we move up the divisions. But we're 2-0, we're absolutely coasting. And you know me now, boys, it's all about the clean sheet, if we can. Clayton's got down the right-hand side. He's crossed it in, and it's a good save by Jones. We've got, touch wood, we've got a really solid goalkeeper. And then what I have got, guys, I have got this little tactic in the background. It's nothing work. It's just a complete shut-up shot. Everything's defensive, really. We're just looking at not pressing too high and doing regrouping and stuff, and we're just trying to not waste a little bit of time, but we're just looking at just finishing games without too much of a problem. Right, the strength in depth. I've just brought on Osterfield, Fletcher and Biggins into the central midfield as well. So it just shows now we've got opportunity to rotate in every single position. I think it's going to be really key for us this year. We're up to 59% possession's good. There you go, 2-0. Nothing exciting. I think we're not the Leeds United. The tactic is not functioning like a proper Bielsa 3-3s, 4-4s and all that at the moment. You know, we've got a really good defensive record. Our results through the course of the season have been, you know, there's a lot of 1-1s, 2-1s, 1-0s. Our defeats, we're out with the FA Cup, by the way. We lost to Charlie. So there we go. Let's just have a little look at pace. Yeah, we've got no one higher with pace of 13, which I think is quite low, isn't it? There's a lot around sort of like the 13s, 12s, 11s. But players that were asking to sort of like run with the ball, like Thiago Green, our central forward, main centre forward, only 9. Riconza, winger, 10. Hopcutt, winger, 11. Windass, winger, 11. Gilmore, winger, 11. So maybe that's the problem. But at the moment, it said we're always limited with players. Now, unfortunately, a couple of players, Kyle Walker was already retired. He was released at the end of the season. And there was another really big name Yorkshire player. I can't think who it was. Was also retired. I was hoping to maybe get one of them. He retired at 35 as well, which I thought was a little bit early. I am looking at making a move for Paul Digby as well. Can play in front of the back four, can play in central midfield. He's 29, but 6'5", plays shin pull, comes deep to get the ball, marks opponent entirely. I think that might be a nice little pickup for us in defence. Come through the youth system at Barnsley and born in Sheffield. So that may be a deal that we can do. Oh, Danny Rose. Danny Rose was the other one, not that Danny Rose. Mitch Rose is his brother. Is that right? Yeah, brother Danny Rose, who is unemployed and as a coach. Not a bad coach, to be fair. Not a bad coach at all. Would be nice to get Danny in for a season as well, but not, unfortunately, wasn't to be. All right, guys, that is it for today. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you next Sunday morning for the next episode of Yorkshire On Off In. Thanks for watching, guys. Take care. See you later.